Imagine standing on the front lines as chaos erupts around you. Swords clash, war cries echo, and the fate of entire nations hinges on a single charge. In this video, we'll take you on an extraordinary time-bending odyssey through 15 of the most pivotal and awe-inspiring battles in human history. Stay with us, because each epic confrontation not only changed the course of nations, it altered the destiny of civilization itself. Welcome, history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Today, we embark on a journey across centuries, through deserts and seas, over mountains and plains, to witness the raw power and heartbreaking sacrifices of 15 epic battles that forever shaped humanity. From the thundering cavalry of ancient chariot armies to the thunderclap of modern artillery, each conflict tells a story of valor, cunning tactics, and unwavering resolve. Our mission is to bring these monumental clashes to life, not as dusty textbook entries, but as riveting human dramas, complete with the heroes, villains, triumphs, and tragedies that defined their eras. By examining these battles, we also gain insight into the cultural, technological, and political evolutions that propelled our world forward. Whether you're a dedicated scholar, a curious armchair historian, or simply love an epic tale, these stories of perseverance and resilience will leave you spellbound. Fasten your seatbelt, because we're about to traverse thousands of miles and leap across centuries to discover how each conflict echoes through our modern world. Prepare yourself for an unforgettable 2-hour deep dive. Let's turn the pages of history back to the days when swords and shields shaped empires, and strategies determined the fates of countless souls. Battle 1. The Battle of Marathon, 490 BCE. Our first journey begins in ancient Greece, on a coastal plain near the town of Marathon. The Persian Empire, led by King Darius I, sought to subjugate the Greeks, imposing its rule over city-states that dared to resist. Facing them were the courageous Athenians who stood firm to protect their autonomy. Under General Miltiades, the Athenian forces executed a radical strategy that involved thinning the center of their hoplite line and fortifying the flanks. Once the Persians penetrated the shallow center, the Greek wings encircled them, resulting in a catastrophic defeat for the invading army. This victory not only saved Athens, but also ignited a spark of confidence that propelled the Greeks toward future triumphs against overwhelming odds. Symbolically, the battle's legacy lives on in the term marathon, commemorating the legendary run of Phidippides, who brought news of victory to Athens. Battle 2. The Battle of Thermopylae, 480 BCE. Just a decade after Marathon, the Persian threat loomed again, this time under Xerxes. At the narrow pass of Thermopylae, 300 Spartan warriors, led by King Leonidas, joined forces with a small contingent of Greeks to stall the massive Persian army. Thermopylae was chosen for its strategic bottleneck, limiting the numerical advantage of the invaders. For several days, the Spartans and their allies fought valiantly, inflicting significant losses on the Persian side. In a final stand that has come to symbolize courage against impossible odds, Leonidas and his men refused to retreat, even when betrayal revealed a secret path that allowed the Persians to flank them. Though a tactical loss for the Greeks, Thermopylae's legacy inspired the collective spirit of the Hellenic world, setting the stage for eventual Persian defeat in subsequent conflicts. Battle 3. The Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BCE. Under the command of the young and brilliant Alexander the Great, the Macedonian army faced the vast forces of Persian King Darius III on the plains of Gaugamela. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander employed advanced tactics and disciplined formations, including the famous Macedonian phalanx. Taking advantage of terrain and timing, he created a gap in the Persian line, charging decisively with his companion cavalry right into the heart of Darius's positions. This victory effectively ended the Persian Empire and paved the way for the spread of Hellenistic culture across much of Asia. Alexander's tactics, mixing rapid, decisive cavalry maneuvers with the unyielding bristle of the phalanx, are still studied by military historians. Gaugamela stands as a shining example of how innovation, leadership, and morale can overturn overwhelming numerical disadvantages. Battle 4. The Battle of Cannae, 226 BCE. Hannibal Barca's name echoes in the annals of military history, and the Battle of Cannae is one of his crowning achievements. During the Second Punic War, Hannibal led his Carthaginian troops through a cunning encirclement tactic against a much larger Roman force. The battlefield, set in southeastern Italy, saw Hannibal's African and Iberian infantry form a curved front that gradually retreated under Roman pressure. Once the Romans were drawn in, Carthaginian cavalry under Hannibal overwhelmed the Roman flanks, surrounding and annihilating them. This near-total defeat severely rattled Rome, showcasing Hannibal's brilliance as a commander and leaving a lasting imprint on military theory. Although Carthage would eventually lose the war, Cannae remains a textbook example of the double envelopment maneuver, a strategy that continues to inform modern warfare doctrines. Battle 5. The Battle of Zama, 202 BCE. Only years after the catastrophic loss at Cannae, Rome found redemption at the plains of Zama in North Africa. Under the leadership of Scipio Africanus, the Roman forces adapted Hannibal's own tactics to counter the famed Carthaginian war elephants and cavalry. Scipio arranged his legions in staggered columns, allowing the elephants to pass through harmless lanes before striking with disciplined spear formations. In a stunning reversal of fortune, the Romans outmaneuvered Carthage's cavalry, turning Hannibal's most formidable weapon against him. The defeat at Zama forced Carthage into submission, marking the end of the Second Punic War and solidifying Rome's ascendancy in the Mediterranean. As a result, Zama became a symbol of Rome's resilience, proving that even the most devastating losses can be overcome with innovative thinking and unbreakable resolve. '6. The Battle of Adrianople, 378 CE. Fast-forwarding to the late Roman Empire, we arrive at the Battle of Adrianople. Here, the Emperor Valens faced the Goths in a conflict that foreshadowed the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire. Overconfident and eager for a quick victory, Valens engaged the Goths without waiting for reinforcements. The Goths, led by Fritigern, feigned negotiation and lured the Romans into a vulnerable position. Once the Gothic cavalry returned from foraging, they charged into the Roman flank, creating chaos that the legions could not contain. Emperor Valens himself perished in the chaos. Adrianople stands as a turning point, exposing the vulnerabilities of a once invincible empire. It marks the growing power of barbarian groups and the diminishing might of Rome, setting in motion a chain of events that would reshape Europe for centuries to come. Battle 7. The Battle of Tours, 732 CE. In the early medieval period, the expanding Umayyad Caliphate pushed into Western Europe. Under the leadership of Abd al-Rahman, they advanced through the Iberian Peninsula toward the rich territories of the Franks. At Tours, or Poitiers, the Frankish leader Charles Martel assembled a disciplined infantry phalanx that effectively neutralized the cavalry advantage of the Umayyads. In a protracted clash, the Franks' defensive formation resisted repeated cavalry charges, and when Abd al-Rahman was slain in the midst of battle, the Muslim forces retreated under cover of night. Charles Martel's victory halted the northward expansion of the Caliphate, earning him the moniker the Hammer. The outcome of Tours is often credited with shaping the religious and cultural trajectory of Western Europe, ensuring that the continent evolved under a predominantly Christian influence. Battle 8. The Battle of Hastings, 1066 CE. The Norman conquest of England was sealed at the Battle of Hastings, where Duke William of Normandy faced King Harold Godwinson. The decisive showdown occurred on a ridge near Hastings. Harold's Saxon infantry formed a defensive shield wall on high ground. William's forces included archers, infantry, and cavalry, providing a dynamic range of tactics. Initially, the Saxons held firm, but William's feigned retreats lured parts of Harold's army into pursuit, breaking their cohesive wall. Taking advantage of this disarray, Norman cavalry charged into the weakened line. King Harold's death on the battlefield marked the collapse of Saxon resistance. Hastings reshaped the cultural and linguistic landscape of England, ushering in centuries of Norman influence that reverberates in modern English society and language today. Battle Shouts, the Siege of Jerusalem, 1099 CE. During the First Crusade, Christian forces from Europe sought to reclaim Jerusalem from Islamic rule. After a grueling journey, Crusaders arrived at the city gates. Under the scorching Middle Eastern sun, they laid siege to the fortified walls. Trebuchets and siege towers were deployed to breach Jerusalem's defenses. Despite disease, thirst, and exhaustion, the Crusaders launched a final desperate assault, eventually gaining access through a weak point in the wall. What followed was a grim chapter of bloodshed and chaos, as the city's mixed population, Muslims, Jews, and Eastern Christians, bore the brunt of the Crusaders' fervor. The siege is remembered both for its strategic feats and its brutality, reflecting the zealous piety and unbridled savagery of medieval warfare. It marked a pivotal moment in the Crusades, setting the stage for centuries of conflict over the Holy Land. Battle 10. The Battle of Agincourt, 1415 CE. Amid the Hundred Years' War between England and France, the Battle of Agincourt stands out for the remarkable English victory under King Henry V. On a muddy field narrowed by woodland, French knights advanced heavily armored, but were bogged down by thick mud and chaotic formations. English longbowmen, protected by sharpened stakes, rained arrows down upon the struggling French, causing massive casualties. Henry's disciplined ranks and well-placed archers exploited the terrain and the French over-reliance on heavy cavalry. The result was a lopsided English triumph with minimal losses. Agincourt became legendary, illustrating the devastating potential of the longbow and marking a high point for English fortunes in the Hundred Years' War. Its lessons on terrain exploitation, combined arms, and disciplined leadership endure in modern military thinking. Battle 11. The Siege of Constantinople, 1453 CE. The fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire under Sultan Mehmed II was an event of seismic cultural and political significance. The once mighty Byzantine capital had long been considered nearly impregnable, protected by formidable walls and the strategic placement on the Bosphorus. However, the Ottomans brought advanced cannon technology, especially the massive bombard designed by Orban, which relentlessly battered the Theodosian walls. After a prolonged siege, the Ottomans breached the defenses. Emperor Constantine XI died defending his city, and Constantinople became Istanbul, a jewel of the Ottoman Empire. This conquest effectively ended the Byzantine Empire and is often cited as the end of the Middle Ages. It also spurred European exploration for new trade routes, inadvertently leading to the age of discovery that would forever change the globe. The Battle of Lepanto, 1571 CE. Naval warfare in the Mediterranean Sea reached a dramatic crescendo at Lepanto, where the Holy League, a coalition led by the Spanish Empire and the papacy, took on the Ottoman fleet. The clash was immense, with galleys and galleasses lining up for a fierce maritime showdown. Despite the Ottomans' naval prestige, the Holy League's use of larger cannons and well-timed maneuvers turned the tide. Fought near the Gulf of Patras, Lepanto ended in a decisive victory for the Holy League, capturing or sinking a significant portion of the Ottoman navy. Beyond its strategic impact, the victory had profound symbolic meaning for Christian Europe, stemming the Ottoman expansion across the Mediterranean. It also signaled that the age of the galley was waning, as gunpowder-based weaponry would soon dominate sea battles worldwide. Battle 13, the Battle of Blenheim, 1704 CE. In the War of the Spanish Succession, the Duke of Marlborough joined forces with Prince Eugene of Savoy to confront French and Bavarian armies at Blenheim, near the Danube River. Marlborough's meticulously timed attacks pinned down the enemy, while Prince Eugene engaged Bavarian forces. The climax came when Marlborough's cavalry executed a decisive charge, breaking through French lines and sowing panic among the ranks. The victory at Blenheim shattered the myth of French invincibility under King Louis XIV, shifting the balance of power in Europe. It demonstrated the potency of well-coordinated Allied forces, meticulous logistics, and combined arms, infantry, cavalry, and artillery, working in harmony. The triumph ensured the survival of the Grand Alliance and remains a cornerstone in the study of early modern warfare. Battle 14. The Battle of Waterloo, 1815 CE. Napoleon Bonaparte's final stand took place on the rolling fields near Waterloo, in present-day Belgium. The French emperor, desperate to reassert his dominance over Europe, faced the combined might of the British under the Duke of Wellington and the Prussians under General Blücher. Heavy rain turned the battlefield into a muddy quagmire, slowing maneuvers and artillery deployment. Napoleon launched repeated attacks against Wellington's positions, but British infantry formed impregnable squares to repel French cavalry. Late in the day, the arrival of Blücher's forces sealed the fate of the French. The defeat at Waterloo ended the Napoleonic Wars, redrawing the map of Europe, and ushered in an era of relative peace known as the Concert of Europe. The name Waterloo has since become synonymous with ultimate downfall. Battle 15. The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 to 1943. One of the deadliest battles in modern history, Stalingrad was a brutal turning point during World War II. The The city on the Volga River became a symbolic stronghold for the Soviet Union. German forces, commanded by General Friedrich Paulus, advanced deep into Soviet territory, seeking a swift victory. However, the Soviets, under Generals Zhukov and Chuikov, adopted a tenacious defense, house-to-house, street-by-street fighting that ground down German morale and resources. In November 1942, a Soviet pincer movement, codenamed Operation Uranus, encircled the German Sixth Army. Trapped in the frigid Russian winter with dwindling supplies, Paulus's forces eventually surrendered. The Soviet victory at Stalingrad shattered the German momentum and marked the beginning of the Axis retreat on the Eastern Front. The city's defense and the subsequent Soviet triumph remain enduring symbols of resilience in the face of overwhelming adversity. We've journeyed through over 2 millennia of warfare, from the sun-scorched plains of Marathon to the icy ruins of Stalingrad, witnessing human tenacity, cunning tactics, and boundless courage. These 15 epic battles remind us that the course of history often pivots on the actions of determined warriors and visionary leaders who defy the odds. They also highlight the tragic cost of conflict, marking the scars of humanity's endless struggle over land, faith, and power. As we conclude this odyssey, remember that these stories carry lessons that resonate far beyond their time. Lessons about resilience, innovation, leadership, and even mercy. Each clash shaped the world we inhabit today, forging alliances, boundaries, and cultural identities that echo through the centuries. Whether you're delving deeper into military strategies or seeking to understand the forces that have molded societies, these battles stand as monumental chapters in our collective memory. Thank you for joining us on this epic 2-hour exploration of history's most transformative conflicts. We hope it has ignited your curiosity and broadened your perspective on just how fragile and formidable civilizations can be. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop seeking the stories that shaped our world.